This is literally the third time I'm filming this. What up, what up? I'm here to talk to you today about true worshipers. So, if you do know, I'm in the worship team at church, and so is my brother. And one day we were driving home and he said, Cecia, when do I get to worship God? And I stopped to think about it and I was like, you know what, Bubba? That is a good question. So if you go to church, you know that sometimes the worship team has a bad reputation because some people think that we just go to church and we just go up there to sing, and then for the sermon we don't even pay attention. And sometimes some people, I know this is true, they just go to the back and sit down and they're not really paying attention to the sermon. And sadly, there are some people out there like that. But I'm here to tell you that not all of us are like that, and that we truly, truly, truly love worshiping God. So let me start by explaining what a worshiper is. So according to John MacArthur, worship is the innermost being responding with praise for all that God is through our attitudes, actions, thoughts, and words based on the truth of God as He has revealed Himself. Or in simpler words, worship is all that we are, reacting rightly to all that He is. To be a true worshiper, you don't have to know how to play an instrument. You don't have to know how to sing. You don't. You just have to worship, give praise to God with everything that you have. And that doesn't only mean with your words. That means with your actions, your thoughts, and everything you do. So you're not only a worshiper at church, you're a worshiper every day, every moment of your life. Everything you do should worship God. Now, to answer really his question that I think he was trying to ask is, when do I have time to worship God and feel His presence? So for the worship team, it's kind of hard to feel God's presence and really interact with it the way the church does, because we have to be aware of the notes we're playing, of the words we're singing, and we have to be aware of our surroundings, of when we're going to change into a different song and what's going on, like up there, up in the altar, you know? Because of that, we do feel His presence. I promise you we do. It's amazing, but we don't really get to fully interact with it and fully give ourselves to God, because we have to be aware and we have to have our eyes open to see what we're doing. So that's where the question comes. When do I have the time to worship God and feel His presence? And let me tell y'all, worshipers have the worship team has a really important role at the church, because we lead people into God's presence. We lead them into worship. So, that being said, we have to have the right relationship with God, because if not, how are we going to lead the church into God's presence if we don't have God's presence ourselves? You know what I mean? But to do that, we have to take some time apart in our personal lives, in our everyday lives, to worship God. And even if that just means sitting down, reading His Word, kneeling down at your bed, listening to worship music, worshiping God and feeling His presence, then that be it, you know? Like, maybe even if you don't have the time, because we do have rehearsals, we do have services, and we do have jobs, and a lot of us go to school too. So even if your car, when you're driving, I personally have done this, I can just feel God's presence. Even though I have my eyes open, I can just talk to Him and feel Him. It's so comforting and so good. So yeah, if you're up there and you ever feel sad, because that's happened to me, if you ever feel like you don't ever have the time to worship God, feel His presence, because you're always up there, you don't really have the time to fully interact with the presence of God, then try taking time out of your everyday life and doing that, because it is very, very, very important that you take time to build up your spiritual life by talking with God, feeling His presence, enjoying it. That is something that I've struggled with, and I've struggled to finally figure out, because sometimes it is really hard for me to really, really, really enjoy the presence of God, enjoy everything that He is, because we do have to be aware, and we do have to have some kind of control when we're up there in the altar leading worship. So we don't really have the same opportunity that the church has to fully experience the presence of God, but we do have that time in our everyday lives, and that's the time that we need to take advantage of. So to wrap it all up, I just wanted to say that if you're in the worship team and you sometimes feel restricted with how you're feeling God's presence, try it in your everyday life, and I promise it's going to make a whole lot of difference. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to take the word worshiper and really try to label myself as that, because I'm going to try to be a worshiper in everything that I do, in everything that I say, and everything that I think. Because at the end of the day, we are supposed to be more like Jesus every day, at least try to. And I think being a worshiper is a good way to start. So I will talk to you guys later. I love doing these videos, and I finally get to do one because I'm done with school. Yay! That means I'm going to be making more videos maybe. So I'll see you guys later. Bye!